Oh, happy ending. So heartwarming. They did it! Yay! So we have to somehow release our stress. Venting, not excessively and needless or pointlessly to random people, but venting to a trusted confidant, people that know you, that is emotionally grounded, who is able to hold space emotionally, not just listening passively, but who knows how to exercise active, compassionate listening. Non judgmental compassion has to be the pillar wherever you're venting to someone. So vent. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a UPenn educated psychotherapist and master of overanalysis and your favorite yapper. Thank you to the Patreon family and YouTube members for voting on the Apothecary Diaries. I have been really enjoying the show and I almost choked on my saliva because I was straight up laughing out loud in episode 2.
Flashback. End of flashback.
Pure comedy gold, but also with deep insights. Assassination Zero is a sponsor tier highlight of today's video. I appreciate your support. Shout out to the best patron family and YouTube members community for your generous support as always. Sit back and hope you enjoy today's video, episode 3.
そんな歌詞だなんてわかりました。あ、不要様、お待ちを。
What happens? Oh! Oh! So this is not a supernatural show, so I doubt it's an actual ghost. Looks like someone with like the white face powder, with some obviously white dress in the dark and night. But I'm curious to see what deeper meaning and other plots will unfold in this episode based on these seemingly ghost figures.
冷たい。都に来てしばらく経つけど。
Nice.
されてるから帝の張飛の故郷だもの。中央も無視できないわ。
針が刺さってたり身ごもっていらした時なんて特にひどかったもの。
次女なら一人増えたしね。
Oh, Lady Ryukyu is a princess from a foreign land? Interesting. But one thing I want to double click on is the reason why all these concubine ladies try so hard to appease and to gain favors and favoritism of the emperor. Yes, A is to ensure their own survival. B is to ensure their heirs, their offspring, their children could become the next king. Third, it's also like they said, because Lady Ryukyu is favored by the emperor, even the trades between the central office and the west have increased significantly, sounds like. So if the concubine does well, not just her home, not just her immediate family, like the nuclear family, her entire province, her entire region reaps the benefits of the emperor's favoritism. This is the reason why all the concubines with the power struggle, all the infighting in the rear palace is happening. Because it's not just for the survival of you. It's the survival of everyone around you, your entire community, your entire tribe, so to speak. That's the power of influence and power of the emperor.
ママ、何を作っているの？
風邪薬です。
そんなものまで作れるんだ。新しい次女は有能。
She is.
ねえ、何か困ったことはない？ちゃんと食べてる？そういえば知ってる？最近流行ってる噂話。
いえ、
the ghosts.
高級に幽霊が出るんですってよ。
幽霊？
知ってるよ、白い女の幽霊でしょ。
Her friend knows all the teas.
白い女の幽霊が月の下で宙を舞ってるんだって。しかも東門の城壁に毎晩。
へえ。城壁はぐるりと高級を囲んでる。
See, similar to the false rumor of poison and magical thinking of curse in episode 1, Mao Mao, in light of a rumor, her first thing is analyze, analyze, and analyze. This is another stark contrast about everyone else's rumors and superstition and baseless wishful thinking and Mao Mao's scientific state of mind. Very, very impressive, especially back then when when science as a field is still very raw and unrefined.
城門には常時見張りがいる上に、外には深い堀。脱走や侵入は不可能。妃の亡骸が沈んでいるとも言われてて。要するによくある幽霊話か。
本当に見ちゃったらどうしよう。
ただの噂話だって。
One thing I will say is because, yes, I am a psychotherapist, so I am trained as a social scientist in the realm of social sciences, clinical psychology specifically. At the same time, I am both spiritual and religious. So I do believe that science is not a catch-all. Science cannot explain everything, for sure. There are situations and things like near-death experiences, NDE right here. There are other spiritual phenomenons where I do believe, although I'm trained as a social scientist, it cannot be explained by science alone. Because just like humanity and human beings are complex and multifaceted, this world, this unknowability of this world, this life is filled with mystery. And that is the beauty of life. If everything is to be known, if we can explain everything scientifically, it's quite boring. So yes, I am an advocate for science and all that I talked about. But not everything can be explained by science because there are mysteries beyond the scope of science. Just like neuroscience, just like our brains, just like the universe, just like even the depth of the Pacific Ocean, which is the deepest ocean. And we've only ventured like 10% of what is there to be uncovered in the depth of the Pacific Ocean, for example. So science is not almighty either. I just wanted to share that ad notes.
薬を見てもらえませんか？
おお、ジョーちゃんかい。ちょっと待ってな。
この間まで警戒されてたのが嘘みたいだ。私が薬を作れるって分かってからは、こうやって調合もさせてくれるし、必要な材料も分けてくれる。それどころかお茶まで。
Aww.
こんなゆるゆるで大丈夫か？
待たせたね。
And dessert.
ジョーちゃん、甘いのよりしょっぱい派だろ。
私の分もお願いするよ。
ただいま。
お仕事ご苦労。
それほどでもございません。この男、暇なの？宦官なら内事省にいるべきだろ。
He is on surveillance duty to see if any other concubines are emotionally cheating on the emperor. But Mao Mao doesn't know that. And I wonder if Master Jinhui is doing that to also looking for evidence and trying to deduce the source of this rumor, this alleged spirit. Because remember, he's a very busy guy, right? He's the manager of the entire royal palace, in addition to the secret task from the empire. So obviously he's not just wandering about. Although I do believe that the master really wants to seduce Mao Mao, because Mao Mao is the only person, male or female, that is immune to his charm so far.
となるとこいつ、旧官長より上の立場か。帝のお付きか。
何かものすごく失礼なこと考えていないか？
That is his man, that's comedic gold. Hilarious. Honestly, this show is hilarious. I love this show. Shout out to you guys again for voting. That is very historically sound because whether it's Chinese emperors or even Roman emperors of the past, remember, power is power. And sex, and if you really boil down sex beyond lust, psychologically, if you distill sex all the way down to the bottom, is actually power and influence. It's all about feeling in control, feeling in power, and influencing the other person to do what you want them to do, sexually or otherwise. So many emperors in the past, they did engage sexually with both males and females. It's not just opposite gender. And that is a power thing. So yes, it's funny because Mao Mao had this lewd thought out of nowhere, trying to surmise, why is this master so free? Maybe he's the emperor's personal favorite in emperor's bedroom, right? So comedy aside, it is actually historically sound.
それで本題は何でしょ
幽霊騒ぎは知っているか？
う。噂程度に。
じゃあ無遊病というのは？
Interesting.
興味があるようだな。どうやったら治る？
わかりません。薬で治せる病ではありません。
薬でなければ治せるのか？
私の専門は薬です。
本当に困った。
なんて粘着質な男なんだ。
Oh.
努力します。
That speaks volume to the master's intelligence and deduction skills yet again. Sleepwalking didn't even cross my mind as a possibility. But yes, it makes so much sense. Right? Obviously, sleepwalking right here, it's a psychological and even psychophysiological phenomenon where individuals, unknown to them, in this delirium sleep state, they're wandering about. And you're not supposed to wake them and interrupt their sleepwalking in the midst of it because it could be extremely psychologically startling to them, right? So you want to put them at ease. You generally want to guide individuals who are sleepwalking, just very gently guide them back into their bedroom so they're not falling, they're not injured. So sleepwalking is a possibility, and the master did gain Mao Mao's attention. So in that sense, Mao Mao is an intellectual. She's only interested in things that will pique her intellectual curiosity. And I think Master Jinhua is learning about that, engaging that a little bit more. So I'm guessing he's going to go from romantic glazing and trying to seduce Mao Mao to intellectual seduction. We shall see.
あまり宦官っぽくない人だよな。
マオマオ様。
継承はいりません。ガオシュン様の方が位はずっと上です。
では、シャオも。
シャオっていきなりちゃん付け。
So Xiao is small or little in Chinese. Remember the princess name, Xiao Ling? It's like little Ling. Ling is the last name or surname, I suppose. So Xiao is like a endearing nickname. Like Xiao Mao is like little cat versus Mao Mao, right? So yeah, it's an endearing nickname, but it is a big jump going from lady to Xiao, because you usually call someone that's younger than you are, that is way outranked by you, someone that's endearing to you, you call them Xiao something.
ジン様に毛虫でも見るような目を向けるのはやめていただけませんか。
Like an insect.
バレティラ。
先ほども戻るなり毛虫でも見るような目をされたと越に言った様子で報告されました
Venomous caterpillar.
以後気をつけます。
So funny.
免疫のないものが見てしまったらうっかり混沌しかねません。
人のことはいろいろだな。
Oh. They found it. Or found her. How does she get up there? She's sleepwalking. I guess she does look like a ghost.
不要費来月功労として部下
得意の舞を失敗して10代から一度もお手つきがなくてずっと部屋に閉じこもってた。
Tragic. Oh. Oh.
歌詞を思い悩んで無遊病に病の原因
More clinical data needed. Yes.
元気出してくれるといいよね。小さな属国の姫だって言うから帰りづらいかもしれないけどさ。
帰る？
ああ、あのね。
So aside from that palace physician being incompetent in episode 1, I think that he has grown a liking and fond of Mao Mao. Yes, because she could make medicine, she can make herbs and drugs and things like that. I think it's also because no one else in Royal Palace speaks the language of medicine. No one else is a scientist like the Royal Palace physician. Incompetent or not, he's still scientifically trained and he's still a physician, right? So the only other person intellectually could provide intellectual conversations and intellectual fulfillment medicinally, in terms of medicine discussion, is Mao Mao. And that's the reason why I think he wants to spend more time with Mao Mao, making her snacks and tea, and want to spend time with her because they could actually have productive intellectual dialogues and conversations. I feel for him. And the whole sleepwalking makes sense. And it can be just a shock. We call that ontological shock, definition right here. Ontology is the field that studies reality. What is this reality? What is the fabric of reality? What comprises of it? What constitutes it? What is it made out of? That's ontology. And ontological shock is when we are so shocked by this new reality. Ontological shock is a phenomenon as part of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, right here, PTSD. A lot of people, they experience PTSD is because they experienced a tremendous shock from their reality, such as losing their battle buddies to death, getting bombed, whatever else going on. It's not just military. Could be first responders, could be anyone, sexual trauma or otherwise, anyone that has PTSD. They psychologically experience ontological shock. They thought reality was so-and-so, and then something shocking happens, and they're shocked by it. And their baseline and the perception of this reality, they were shocked and never reverted or went back to their baseline. That's ontological shock. And that's what Mao Mao is saying, that maybe Lady Fu Yu, and by the way, Fu Yu means wealth, prosperity in Chinese. So even these Chinese names have symbolism and deeper meanings behind it if you speak the language. So it is very possible that Lady Fu Yu experienced ontological shock, and therefore it caused some sort of a psychological imbalance, and that might be causing her to sleepwalking. But here's what I want to double click on. Mao Mao says something very beautiful. She says, I need more information. Mao Mao is a very skilled diagnostician. She's good at diagnosis. I do that as a psychotherapist. Part of my job functions is to provide diagnosis and doing diagnostic assessments. Definition right here. But like I always talk about in all of the series that I cover, I need more clinical data. We need at least 3 to 6 months of consistent therapy, clinical observation, and data collecting to provide any formal diagnosis per DSM-5. And I always talk about, even in last episode, I need more clinical data to say either Mao Mao is depressed, either she's in this PTSD survival mode, or whether she's nihilistic, or whether she's just very indifferent about anything and everything outside of medicine and apothecary duties. I say that because I need more clinical data to provide more accurate diagnosis and information. Mao Mao is demonstrating the same thing. She's that it can be ontological shock. Lady Fu Yu's psychological state might be imbalanced because she doesn't want to be sent back and be bestowed as a reward, aka shared as a gift to a military officer. But I need more data. That is Mao Mao's intellectual humility. And he speaks to how great of an apothecary and a clinician Mao Mao is. Much respect.
部下に下げ渡されるなんて考えただけでゾッとするもの。
城壁の上で踊っていた時と随分印象が違いますね。本当に不要の花みたいだ。
花ですか？
はい。不要という花は朝には白い大輪の花を咲かせます。ですが夕方には濃い桃色へと花の色を変えるのです。
つまり一日のうちに違う顔を持つ花だと。
はい。
That's cool.
幽霊話？
うん。もう少し聞きたくて。何か知らない？
そういえば最初は北側に出てたって言ってたけど。
え？北側？北から東に移動した？
行かなきゃ。
それに。
ああ、
Hmm?
推測で物を話すなって親父には言われそうだけど。
So it sounds like Mao Mao's scientific mind and training was also instilled by her father. Shout out to that Mr. Miyagi looking dude. I hope you're doing well. And I hope you know that your daughter is alive. Mao Mao is, if anything, thriving. And hopefully you two will unite soon. So I wonder what the speculation is.
無遊病とはよくわからない病です。原因は心の圧力と言わ
Yes.
あたかも起きているような動きをします。同じ病を患った妓女がいました。ですが、その話は破談となります。
Stress,
勇気
acute
にでも
stress.
取りつかれたように毎晩妓楼を徘徊し始めたのです。
You don't remember you're sleepwalking.
徘徊はなくなりましたので。
つまりその妓女は身請け話が嫌だったの？
おそらく。妓女の年季は残り1年だったのです。終わりです。
There's more.
本当に
Sure speculation.
どうか落ち着いて。
仕事に戻ります。での間、宦官が見張りにつくことになった。
Ah, that's rough.
うまくいけばいいけど。
One thing I want to quickly highlight with mental health and psychology is the impact of suppressed stress. So Mao Mao is correct. Stress is one of the known contributing factors to the phenomena of sleepwalking. Because of acute stress or chronic stress, your body psychologically and physiologically, your body doesn't know how to handle this pent-up energy and stress. So obviously there's other contributing factors, but very simply put, because of all these accumulative and pent-up unaddressed stress accumulating, psychologically you enter this delirious state, sleepwalking. That's why people black out. They're as if they're just literally having a dream, but they're wondering about and so on. Because our bodies, psychologically and biologically, it's a very optimized superpower machines evolved over time. To be exact, about 150,000 years for Homo sapiens specifically. And there is detrimental, invisible effect, impact, and suffering when we don't release our stress. I've shared this quote many times, and one of my favorite adages that I advocate often on my reaction series is because I love mental health. I'm a mental health advocate. And YouTube reaction is just another extension of my educational effort, although more entertaining and less dry. Expression is the opposite of depression. Quote right here. Expression is the opposite of depression. What you don't express outwardly gets depressed inwardly, and that causes psychiatric illnesses, psychological suffering, emotional incongruences, and even physical ailments. If you look at the clinical research right now, stress is now the number one killer in America. Stress creates so many comorbidities and health outcome. Increase of heart disease, increase of depression, anxiety, heart attacks, cardiovascular diseases, and so on. Stress is now one of the leading causes of so many deaths in America, healthcare systems or otherwise. So we have to somehow release our stress. Venting, not excessively and needless or pointlessly to random people, but venting to a trusted confidant, people that know you, that is emotionally grounded, who is able to hold space emotionally, not just listening passively, but who knows how to exercise active, compassionate listening. Non-judgmental compassion has to be the pillar wherever you're venting to someone. So vent, journal, just every day for 10 minutes. Put on a stopwatch for 10 minutes. Write whatever it's in your mind, you're overthinking, you're ruminating, rumination, definition right here. You want to download and offload and cleanse all your overthinking that's plaguing your minds, that is weighing heavy on you. Put it down to a fingers to keyboard or pen to paper. You want to offload all your stress. So journaling for 10 minutes a day is also free, easily accessible, right? Low effort, but it can relieve and alleviate a lot of your sufferings and burden. So journaling. If you don't like to write, you can audio record. You can do dictations, dictate, and just do an audio recording of whatever you want to vent to and just delete it afterwards. You don't have to review your journaling content. Verbal journaling, audio journaling, or written journaling. It's not about reviewing. It's not about being grammatically accurate. It's not about writing flowery and poetically. It's just simply you want to release some of your stress. Otherwise, your stress will manifest externally like Lady Fu Yu's sleepwalking or any other stresses.
最近マオマオの様子が変じゃない？そうですか？やっぱり何かあるのね。
Mao seems more distracted. I wonder if it's because of this hypothesis and speculation thing that Mao didn't disclose. We saw that Master Jinhui try to probe her because he's very perceptive. He's very logical. But Mao didn't bite and she chose not to disclose her speculation. But obviously Lady Fukuyu, she's also very perceptive. She's very kind-hearted and she's very wise. So I think she can notice Mao is a little bit more distracted and she's not fully present because I'm sure her mind is in hyperdrive and she's trying to figure out what is actually going on.
不要費の出立、今日だったかしら。
Today's the day?
そう聞いてます。
ねえ、ねえ、私にくらい話してくれていいんじゃない？本当のこと。自分で聞いておいて腹は立てませんよ。
Speculation? Let's hear it, Mao.
あくまで推測ですので、他言無用でお願いできますでしょうか。
口は固くってよ。
先日の妓女のお話は覚えていますか？
無遊病の？
はい。他にも一人、同じ病で身請け話が破談になった妓女がいました。その妓女には、後に新たな身請け話が持ち上がりましたが、病の妓女ということで、前の半分の銀で成立しました。
That's rough.
しかし、これは詐欺だったのです。
詐欺。
身請けを申し出た二人の男は知人同士だったのです。女二人が一緒になるには男には銀が足りず女には年季がありました。不要費とお相手の武官は同じ故郷でお過ごしになられた幼なじみなのです。
Yo!
幼なじみは先日の異民族討伐で武勲を立てられたと伺いました。
That's amazing deduction skills by Mao. So impressive. She's straight up a private detective.
報奨を許され 不要妃の歌詞を強く願い出たそうです。
It was planned. Hmm.
それなのに高級に入ることが決まったのね。
帝の興味を引かないようにされたのではないでしょうか。
So smart.
目論見通り夜とぎはなく、
Wow. Goosebumps.
ものとなる不要妃を帝が惜しまないとは言い切れません。
それで無遊病を語ったと。帝についてはなきにしもあらずだもの。なんとも言えないわ。
Wow.
討伐の地は東方です。そして不要妃が毎晩踊っていたのは
東門。
無事の帰還を祈っていたのでしょう。あくまで
Whoa.
推測ですが。
Yo. Impressive. Dude. Mao Mao the Wise. Oh, there he is. Military childhood best friends. Oh, that's the good-looking military officer that put a halt on the poisoning incident in episode 2. Is he? Is that him? Oh, happy ending. So heartwarming. Whoa. She could get beheaded for saying that. If the emperor hears about that, she'd be dead. So Fuyu was depressed.
そんなことはないと思います。
They did it! Yay. Now that I think back, I think there's two reasons why Mao Mao chose not to share her speculative hypothesis to Master Qinhui. One is because A, it is speculation. There's lack of hard proof. Yes, granted. But second, I think the deeper and the true reason why she chose not to disclose her hypothesis is because of her altruism. I think altruistically, she wanted the best for Lady Fuyu and the military officer after digging and researching and finding out about their childhood backgrounds, how they were meant for each other. So I think because she knew if she shared that to the master, he might have to intervene because he pledges allegiance and loyalty to the emperor first and foremost. Even if Mao Mao doesn't know about the master's secret task of testing and surveilling the loyalty of other concubines. Even without that crucial information, I think instinctively Mao Mao knew to not share that information so that she can wish upon them a truly happy ending for Lady Fuyu, and the military officer. And that is what happens. That is absolutely beautiful. But at the same time, it once again talks about the cruel reality of concubines. Even as a princess from a small state who was bestowed upon to the emperor for the prosperity and the trade relationships of the small state, I'm sure, as soon as she made a mistake, the emperor never touched her. But Lady Fuyu's plotting and planning doesn't stop there. That's just the initial step. Up until the moment where she was able to reunite with the military officer as a gift, she had to pretend a fake psychophysiological illness of sleepwalking. Although sleepwalking is not really an illness in that sense, but you get my point. Because she was afraid the emperor out of his possessive nature. It's not just this emperor. All emperors are possessive. And like I said numerous times, concubines are nothing but possessions of the emperor, period. Out of the emperor's possessive nature, it is very much likely for the emperor to take hold sexually of this Fuyu before she was given away, to take away her chastity. And Lady Fukuyu, I forgot her name already, guys. I'm sorry. It sounds like a cuss word, but she's like, I can't really speak ill of the emperor, but it is very much likely because she knows the emperor well. She knows about his man instincts and emperor's possessive nature. And the last thing I'll say before resuming is how significant Lady's confession to Mao Mao. Is it bad? Is it horrible for me to say that I'm envious of Lady Fu Yu? Like I said with my live commentary, if the emperor heard what Lady said, she could get beheaded because that is a betrayal. Wishing to be given away to another man as emperor's favorable concubine, that is a death sentence and happens all the time. But what does that say about the blossoming relationship and this more intimate dynamic between Mao Mao and the lady? The lady is trusting Mao Mao more and more. She's viewing Mao Mao more as a trusted confidant, almost like an advisor. Not just as a poison taster, not just as an apothecary, not just as a lady in waiting, but truly a trusted confidant. Because that is extremely important, like sensitive and classified information that the lady disclosed. So that's also very, very symbolic scene as well. Oh, love drug. What kind of drug it will make? Oxytocin. Literally right here, oxytocin is known as like the love hormone, cuddly hormone. It's what a lot of OBGYN and physicians inject pregnant moms with oxytocin for their hormonal boost. So oxytocin is like the love chemical, a love hormone, very simplified. But yeah, because when we're in love, when we're feeling infatuated, enamored by another person during honeymoon phase, that's where our brains release a lot of serotonin, a lot of oxytocin, and other feel-good hormones and chemicals. But the true takeaway for Mao Mao is not about how happy, how beautiful the reunification and reunion is between Lady Fu Yu and the military officer, but rather with her mad scientist thinking process. She's like, if love makes a woman beautiful, what kind of drug would it make? She's still thinking about herbal medicine and making drugs. She truly is dedicated to her craft, and she's born to be a mad scientist. Much, much respect. But will Mao Mao find her true love? I guess we shall see. We saw the lady looking out the window after sharing her very sensitive and classified disclosure with Mao Mao. I think that scene of her looking out the window, pondering in deep thoughts, I think that symbolizes that she doesn't really actually love the emperor. Again, she's a high-ranking concubine. Yes, she is favored by the emperor. Sure, she has power in real palace. She has influence. She has wealth. Sure, she has all these external things, but she's not happy because she doesn't actually love the emperor. I think that's what that scene represents. But we finishes out episode 3 with another high-ranking officer with his outfit, because like I said, I know the Chinese culture and history quite well. So that guy who was wearing like a belt and this highly rank admin position, sounds like he came to the lady to seek the services of Mao Mao. It sounds like Mao Mao's competency has spread far and wide. So we'll see what episode 4 is in store for us next week. And as always, do me 2 favors before you bounce. Make sure you're subscribed, because you want to make sure my videos shows up properly onto your feed with a change of algorithm. And second, share one thing you took away from my video. Could be a concept I shared, or could be a sentiment I was talking about. I'm happy to follow up and share more information and more resources as I see fit. As always, appreciate you for tuning in. And until then, peace. See you next week.